Audiobooks presents Super Smash Cadens, Audiobook Edition. Chapter 1. Once upon a time, there was a game called Super Smash Cadens, and everybody thought it was great. Well, almost everybody. Only the most horrendous, vile, evil fiends didn't like it. In other words, Angelotti didn't like it. And calling him a horrendous, vile, evil fiend was offensive to all horrendous, vile, evil fiends. Aiden had tried to ruin Super Smash Cadens on multiple occasions, but had always been stopped by his creator, Caden. He hadn't tried anything recently, though, so Caden knew something big was coming. Because of this, he had been keeping an eye on Aiden, but he hadn't been able to find anything out. Just then, he saw Aiden talking to someone on his phone. Thinking it could be about his latest plan, he sneakily went over to Aiden so he could hear the conversation.
Have you completed the virus?
Aiden asked.
Yes,
the person on the phone said.
I'm installing it in the robots. Good to hear, Henry Bevel.
Aiden cackled. So it was a lot about his latest plan, Caden thought. And Henry Bevel sounds a lot like Henry Bevel. Could Henry be in on it? Before Aiden could see him, he snuck away. Chapter 2. Henry Bevel, a.k.a. Henry Bevel, or Henry Bevel, a.k.a. Henry Bevel, was using offsite to work on an army of giant robots that he had looked up the instructions for online. Someone named Mr. Evil Mastermind had a website on it. He had previously made a virus that destroyed anything Super Smash Cadens related if touching it, and he was going to put the virus in the giant robots and send them to PSCS so that he and Aiden could destroy Super Smash Cadens once and for all. Fortunately, there wasn't enough of the virus to inject in all of the giant robots, so he was going to have to make a lot more of it. He didn't want to call Aiden too many times or Caden might catch on, so he texted him that he would need a couple more days to arm all of the robots. Aiden texted back saying okay, and Henry Bevel or whatever you want to call him went back to working on the virus. Chapter 3. Caden had to figure out some way to stop Aiden, and Henry if that was him on the phone. But he had to get more information on what Aiden's plan was exactly. He knew it had something to do with the virus and robots, so he tried to figure out how those things could mess up Super Smash Cadens. After a while, he came up with a possibility. Maybe the virus was a virus only to Super Smash Cadens related stuff, and that he would use the robots to inject it into all Super Smash Cadens merchandise. Just then Aiden walked over to him. I know we disagree if Super Smash Cadens should be a thing or not, he said. But let's make a truce, okay? So Aiden wouldn't know that he was onto something. Caden responded, sure, that'd be great. Cool, said Aiden, and he walked away. Aiden doesn't know I'm suspecting anything, Caden thought. So it will be really easy to stop him. Caden then came up with a plan. He was going to follow Aiden after school, and hopefully Aiden would lead him to wherever the robots were being stored. Chapter 4. When school finally let out, Caden waited for Aiden to pack up his stuff, and then followed him out the door. So far, Aiden was walking towards the bus stop, but Caden figured that after he was out of sight, or thought he was out of sight, he would make a turn towards the robot factory. Surprisingly, he kept walking straight ahead. Maybe he takes the same bus as he usually does, and the robot factory is located close to his house, Caden thought. So Caden kept following Aiden, and sure enough, he got on the bus he usually took. Caden waited a few seats behind him, and eventually he got off close to the Seattle Center, and Caden set out after him again. After a couple more minutes, Aiden walked up to his apartment and went inside. What? Caden thought. Was Aiden really done messing with Super Smash Cadens and actually wanted a truce? As he was about to walk away, he heard Aiden talking to someone on the phone again.
I think it worked, Henry Bevel, he said. Caden thinks I'm done messing with Super Smash Cadens. Little does he know that I'm about to launch my biggest attack yet.
Oh no, Caden thought. I was right all along. But his biggest attack yet, that'll be hard to deal with." So Caden snuck away, trying to think of another way to find the robot factory. Chapter 5. Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, sleepily walked into PSCS. He had spent the whole night making the virus and could barely walk. It was worth it, though, because the virus had been completed and injected into all the robots. All he had to do was press a button and Super Smash Cadens would be toast. And Caden didn't even know anything was up. Or so he thought. He had called Aiden that morning to tell him the robots were ready for launch, but he said he wanted to launch them that afternoon. When he got home, he was going to go straight for the on button and start the onslaught. He somehow made it through the day without falling asleep, then packed up and headed out the door. But today, Caden was following him, because he was pretty sure that Henry Bevel and Henry Bevel were one and the same. Unlike Aiden, Henry didn't go his usual route and started down a shady-looking alley. About halfway down, he stopped at a big metal door and scanned a key card that said Henry Bevel on it, and on a scanner beside the door. The door clicked open and he went inside. Before the door could close, Caden ran in after him. It was indeed a robot factory. Giant robots stood in a circle all around the room with grimaces on their faces. They also all had an oozy black liquid stored in containers on their backs. Tubes ran from the containers to giant syringes on their arms. Just then, Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, reached out and pressed a big red button in the center of the room labeled Launch, and all of the robots turned on. Chapter 6. The robots all walked past Caden and out the door, chanting, "Destroy Super Smash Cadens! Destroy Super Smash Cadens!" Caden had to stop them before they did just that. But as he started after them, he heard Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, shout,
"I'll get you, Caden!"
Henry tried to tackle him, but Caden jumped out of the way and Henry whatever slammed into the ground. "That's what happens when you don't play Super Smash Cadens," said Caden. And he then ran towards his house where the Super Smash Cadens mainframe was, and where the robots would almost certainly be heading. Meanwhile, Aiden was heading to the robot factory himself, because Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, had prepared a mech for him that he could get into and operate. It was also cooler than the other robots because the tube went from the virus container to a water gun instead of a syringe, so he could shoot Super Smash Cadens stuff from a distance and still destroy it. When he got there, he found Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, pacing back and forth, looking outraged. "What's the matter, Henry?" Aiden asked.
"Caden found out about your plan,"
Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, said.
"I tried to stop him from going after the robots, but I fell down and he got away."
"Dang it," Aiden said angrily.
"Lucky for us, there's no way Caden can take out all of the robots, especially with me on the way. It's time to get into my mech."
Chapter 7. When Caden finally reached his house, the robots had already trashed it. Super Smash Caden stuff lay broken on the floor. Fortunately, they hadn't reached the mainframe yet. "Stop!" Caden yelled. The robots turned his direction and started charging toward him, chanting, "Exterminate! Exterminate!" There was no way Caden could fight off an army of giant robots by himself, so he turned and ran. Once he was a safe distance away, he started back towards his house. "If they won't listen, I'll just have to sneak past them," he thought. Once he got there, he snuck in through the back door and went into the room the Super Smash Caden's mainframe was. He then went over and locked the door leading to the rest of the house so the robots couldn't get in. Unfortunately, they could get in. A robot broke down the door and charged at the mainframe. In one last attempt to stop the robots, Caden ran over to the mainframe and started playing Super Smash Cadens on it. His plan was working. He started to feel more powerful as he played, and soon he was powerful enough to take down all of the robots. He started punching and kicking robots, one after the other, and they toppled broken to the ground. But then one poked him with its syringe, and the power he had acquired from playing Super Smash Cadence drained away. The robots he hadn't broken started walking toward him, angrier than ever. Chapter 8. Caden tried to get away, but a robot blocked his path. The rest of the robots came up behind him, still chanting exterminate. All Caden could do now was try to get more power from the mainframe. He started playing Super Smash Cadence on it again, and again got powerful enough to take on the robots. This time he avoided the syringes and took down the rest of them. Phew! Caden thought. That was a close one. Just then, Aiden Gelati entered the room in his mech.
You may have taken down my robots, but you'll never take down me.
Caden charged toward him, but he shot him with the virus, and his power was again zapped away from him.
Just give up, Caden,
Aiden said.
I can get rid of your power before you even get close.
But Caden refused to surrender. He played Super Smash Cadence on the mainframe a third time, got powered up a third time, and charged Aiden again. Unfortunately, Aiden shot him down just as easily.
Okay, Caden, move over, he said. I'm going for the mainframe.
Chapter 9. Aiden pushed past Caden and squirted the mainframe with his water gun. Caden waited for it to shut down, but it didn't.
Why isn't it working?
Aiden cried, frustrated. The power of Super Smash Cadence must be too powerful for your virus to destroy, Caden said happily.
Looks like you're the one who should just give up. Maybe I can't destroy Super Smash Cadence,
Aiden growled,
but I can destroy you!
But before Aiden could do anything, a robotic voice spoke out of his mech. Mech battery depleted, it said. Shutting down.
No,
Aiden cried.
I will get my revenge!
Not with Super Smash Cadence around, you won't, Caden said triumphantly. Aiden then climbed out of his mech and stormed out of the room. Caden smiled. He had once again stopped Aiden Gelati from ruining Super Smash Cadence. Chapter 10. As Aiden started walking back towards his house, he started to think that he actually should give up. Caden had stopped him time and time again from ruining Super Smash Cadence, so how could one more attempt get him anywhere? But then he got a great idea. He could make his own Super Smash Cadence and call it Super Smash Aidens. It could make him just as tough as Super Smash Cadence made Caden. He called up Henry Bevel, whatever you want to call him, on his phone and said,
Henry, would you mind making something else for me?
To be continued in Super Smash Cadence Book Edition. The Rise of Super Smash Aidens. This concludes the recording of Super Smash Cadence Audiobook Edition.